Hello and welcome to our daily V News. Following are the headlines.
Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng receives Chinese guests. Vietnam calls on international community to assist disaster victims. Vietnam moves to increase seafood exports to EU.
On April 27, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng hosted a reception for Secretary of the Party Committee of China's Guangxi Autonomous Region, Peng Kinh-hoa, who is on a working visit to Vietnam.
At the reception, General Secretary Trọng noted that Guangxi plays an important role in Vietnam-China relations. The party leader urged Guangxi province and Vietnamese localities to focus on the implementation of the common perceptions of senior leaders of the two parties and states, as well as beefing up multifaceted cooperation, thus contributing to the relationship between Vietnam and China. Peng Kinh-hoa briefed his host of cooperation and exchanges between Guangxi and Vietnamese border provinces in recent years. He affirmed that the party committee, administration, and people of Guangxi pay heed to developing the traditional friendship with Vietnam and want to further ratchet up cooperative ties with its border provinces. The same day, at a reception for Peng Kinh-hoa, Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc asked the two sides to continue to work together to prepare for the exchange of delegations between Guangxi and Vietnamese localities, ministries, and sectors this year. The Vietnamese government leader suggested the two sides uphold the role of the existing cooperation mechanisms, expand cooperation in trade, investment, and transport infrastructure connectivity, as well as enhance border management. For his part, Peng Kinh-hoa said Guangxi and Vietnam have 12 pairs of border gates and have witnessed increasing flows of goods. As a result, he asked the two countries to accelerate a plan to build economic cooperation zones, including Dongxing Móng Cái and Pingshan Đồng Đăng, boost the application of one-stop-shop mechanism, implement the two corridors, one economic belt strategy, and take measures to maintain peace, stability, and prosperity in border areas. During a meeting with Peng Kinh-hoa, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh asked Guangxi authorities to join hands with Vietnamese counterparts to prepare for high-level meetings on the sidelines of the 13th China-ASEAN Expo in Nanning City and boost cooperation for mutual benefits in economy, trade, tourism, and infrastructure connectivity. The Deputy Prime Minister also requested both sides to strictly implement documents regarding the shared borderline, the fight against cross-border smuggling and terrorism, as well as trade facilitation. For his part, Peng Kinh-hoa stressed that Guangxi places great importance on friendly and cooperative ties with Vietnamese localities. He expressed his wish to well perform the common perceptions of senior leaders of the two nations.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc hosted a reception in Hanoi on April 27 for Secretary of the Party Committee of the Chinese province of Guizhou, Chen Min-er, who is on a working visit to Vietnam.
Prime Minister Phúc affirmed that the state, government, and people of Vietnam continue to pursue its foreign policy of peace, independence, self-reliance, multilateralization, and diversification of international relations. Vietnam always attaches importance to consolidating and strengthening the friendly neighborliness and comprehensive cooperation with China, considering it as one of the top priorities in its external policy. He stressed that Guizhou province and Vietnamese localities should increase friendship exchanges and further step up economic, trade, and investment cooperation. The leader also asked Guizhou to boost the import of Vietnamese goods. Chen Min-er affirmed education cooperation with Vietnam is one of Guizhou's top priorities. 4 of Guizhou's universities have set up ties with Vietnamese counterparts, serving as a premise to intensify education cooperation between the two sides. He revealed that Guizhou currently ranks second among Chinese provinces in terms of trade with Vietnam.
On April 27, Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc chaired a national teleconference on enhancing food hygiene and safety, where he underlined the need to identify the responsibility of agencies concerned with food safety management, especially the role played by their chiefs.
Prime Minister Phúc underlined that chairpersons of people's committees at communal, district and provincial levels should bear responsibility when there are violations of food safety rules in areas under their management, as should the market management force and the police. He admitted that relevant agencies have yet to perform well in ensuring food safety, which has had a direct impact not only on human health but also the country's position and prestige. Ensuring food safety is also the responsibility of the entire population, who should have a higher awareness of this issue to bring violations to light. Prime Minister Phúc and other delegates laid special emphasis on the punishment of violations, saying not only state managers but also producers and business people involved must receive the strictest treatment. Meanwhile, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Cao Đức Phát stressed the need to clarify the tasks of ministries, agencies and localities regarding food safety and proposed setting up connection models between producers, farmers and businesses to facilitate inspections.
Vietnam and Egypt have agreed to enhance people-to-people exchange, particularly among Muslim communities.
The agreement was made during the meeting between Deputy Head of the Government Committee for Religious Affairs Bùi Thanh Hà and Egyptian Minister of Religious Endowments Muhammad Mukhtar Jumua in Cairo on April 26. Ha told his hosts that Vietnam has about 90 mosques and more than 80,000 Muslims who have greatly contributed to national development. Minister Muhammad said Egypt is willing to help Vietnam in teaching the Arab language and religion, offering to send experts to assist the country in Arab language training. The Vietnamese delegation is on a working visit to Egypt from April 26 to 30th. It is scheduled to visit the Grand Mufti of Egypt, Dr. Shawki Alam, and meet with the Egyptian Organization for Standardization and Quality from April 27 to 29.
Vietnam has sent urgent appeals to the international community, asking for $48.5 million to deal with the impact of increasingly severe drought and saltwater intrusion.
In March, the government, the UN and some non-governmental organizations released quick calculations that 2 million Vietnamese would be without access to clean water and 1.1 million in need of food aid across 18 of the provinces hardest hit by drought and saltwater intrusion. Their findings also showed that more than 60,000 women and children were malnourished, and 1.75 billion saw their sources of livelihood severely damaged. At the conference jointly organized by the UN and the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development in Hanoi on April 26, Vietnam announced a national urgent response plan covering water and food supply, sanitation and health care.
Vietnam will step up collecting information and mobilize domestic resources to support the people in affected areas, both in short-term and long-term periods. Our motto is that there will be no people suffering from hunger or lack of clean water, and that epidemic will not occur.
Since the end of 2015, Vietnam has provided more than 5,200 tons of food aid for 3 regions that took the full brunt of drought and saltwater intrusion. The country has spent over $45 million on drought assistance.
From the United Nations side, we have mobilized initial $4 million to start responding to some of the needs, and we will work together with government and all other partners to see how the other unmet need for close to $40 million is also met.
Approximately $7.34 million in aid was pledged. with $4 million from the UN and $3 million from the Asian Development Bank. The US supported VNA with $50,000, while the Red Cross granted €200,000 to Cà Mau and up to $18,000 to Long An.
24 Vietnamese enterprises are participating in the 2016 Global Seafood Expo in Brussels, Belgium. A correspondent will provide more details.
Vietnamese enterprises brought familiar products including char and basa fish and shrimp to the event, hoping to increase seafood exports to the EU. The Vietnam Association of Seafood Exporters and Producers said Vietnamese seafood businesses have prepared equipment and processing technologies in an attempt to go into the European market further once the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement comes into effect. At the event, the Vietnamese Trade Office in Belgium organized a workshop on the EU's seafood market and opportunities for Vietnamese enterprises. Vietnam earned $1.4 billion from seafood exports in the first quarter of 2016, a year-on-year rise of 9%. Together with the US and Japan, the EU is an important importer of Vietnamese seafood, accounting for 18% of the country's total export volume.
International arrivals to Vietnam increased 7.8% against the same period last year to more than 3.24 million at the end of April. We have more in the following report.
In April, Vietnam welcomed nearly 790,000 foreign visitors, with more than 661,000 of them arriving by air, over 13,500 by sea, and over 114,000 by land. Hong Kong tops the list of countries and territories with the fastest growth of visitors to Vietnam with a boom of 143.3%. It was followed by China, the Republic of Korea, Italy, Sweden, and England. In the same period, the number of local tourists was about 22.8 million. Total tourism revenue from the beginning of this year has amounted to nearly $6 billion, an increase of 19.6%.
The beauty of the Vietnamese land and people through the lens of Vietnam News Agency photographers are on show in Ho Chi Minh City. Let's take a look.
The exhibition features 60 photos delivering messages on human lives. It is organized in celebration of the 41st anniversary of the liberation of South Vietnam and national reunification. The photos capture moments in daily activities in the rural areas, the hardship of farmers, and the beauty of life. The exhibition will last until May 9th at Nguyễn Văn Bình Book Street in Ho Chi Minh City.
The best images from the Shakespeare Lives in Photography competition are displayed in Ho Chi Minh City. We went along to take a look.
The competition run by the British Council has attracted 200 entries and produced 11 winners who chose to creatively reference scenes from either Shakespeare plays, his influence on literature, or capture a famous Shakespearean location. The exhibition is supported by the Vietnam News Agency's Sports and Culture newspaper. It is part of Shakespeare Lives, a global program of events and activities celebrating Shakespeare's work on the occasion of the 400th anniversary of his death. Throughout 2016, the program will explore the playwrights in cultures, engaging audiences with both Shakespeare and the best of contemporary Britain.
And that has come to an end of our program. Thank you for joining us and see you next time.